Mayor Borowski, members of council. I'm Rachel Smetana, the Tourism and Events Director for the City of Scottsdale, and tonight I'm bringing forward Western Spirit, Scottsdale's Museum of the West. They are requesting $90,000 for marketing funding. And on December 16th of 2025, the Tourism Development Commission recommended an allocation of $90,000 from the Tourism Development Fund allocated specifically for destination marketing. This request was made to help support the outreach efforts by the museum to attract new art lovers to the museum's opening of their new, and former Councilman Smith would have me add, privately funded expansion of their beautiful museum right here in Old Town Scottsdale. As we all know, arts is an integral part of Old Town Scottsdale, and this exciting new development provides an opportunity to communicate with the valley and beyond, to get to know our beautiful museum and remind everyone that Old Town is the place for exciting arts and culture experiences. So the Museum of the West brought forward a marketing plan, and these are some of the deliverables they intend over the next 3 months in advance of their grand opening week, March 24th through 29th. City staff has evaluated the proposal and has identified a public purpose and direct consideration substantially equal to the proposed city's expenditure. So, here's the action we are requesting, and Todd Bankafear, CEO of Scottsdale's Museum of the West, is also here to provide information and answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
All right. Councilman Graham.
There's a public comment, Mayor.
Yes, Bob Pedgman. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Borowski, council members. My name is Bob Pedgman. My comments are centered on how to get most bang out of the buck, how to maximize the potential of the museum, how to increase visitation. So one of the things that happens when the council approves a big project is that certain promises and projections are made, and those projections are usually used to justify the approval, how it's going to impact and how it's going to improve the community. So back in 2013, I watched the entire session of the museum when they got the $13 million to build it. And there was a consultant that made a whole bunch of projections. I want to put this on the projector. So basically, in 2013, the projection was made that by year 5, the attendance of the museum would be roughly around 100,000 visitations per year. Okay, to put this in perspective, the recent numbers, as the city has told me, are more around 50,000. In my opinion, if that was the 50-year projection, by now this should be maybe 150,000. So it's certainly falling short. Now, part of what they said also in the same, you can see back down here, that's the consulting company that presented and made the projections. It relied heavily on the museum attracting from the valley, from Scottsdale, from PV, from Phoenix Metro in general. So the question is, why hasn't any of that happened? The other thing I would say that if you listen to if you watch the council meeting, for example, Suzanne Clapp made a big speech about how the museum's purpose is also to activate the arts district. That was a major reason that it got approved. It's going to activate the arts district. Now, I'm not here to figure out why that stuff hasn't happened. I would say that one of the main reasons is that when they approved the project, they never put in a marketing plan. So they thought that by magic, they're going to get those numbers. By magic, they're going to attract these people to the museum. So there's been an absolute absence of a solid marketing plan. I don't know who to blame that on, but that's the fact. The museum is kind of like a lure to bring visitation down. It's an activation tool. I think we've forgotten that it's an activation tool. And we want to bring it back to have it be an activation tool. And here's my challenge. Let's say it's 50,000 visitation, and it's probably not all paid visitation. What can we do to bring it back to 100,000? But that was year 5, by the way. We're in year 10 right now. If we can set that as a benchmark, then the challenge becomes how to do that. And I think that's the real metric that can be used, that it's going to increase the visitation. And by the way, it's not increase, it's bring it back to what was projected. And I think if we can do that, it's going to make a big impact on how it's going to drive traffic to Old Town. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bob. All right. I have a couple of questions. I don't see.
After you.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
I didn't see you up there. Sure. I have a couple of questions. So this TDC approves its new events that over a 3-year maximum lifespan, $75,000, right? That's kind of our general criteria. Actually, it's not general, it's absolute, or it should be. And so is this coming under that program?
Mayor, members of council, no, it is not. That is for the new event development fund, the maximum of $75,000. This is specific to marketing. We did something similar to this, I believe in 2016, related to a Hopi exhibit. So it's not unprecedented for the bed tax to pay into marketing to drive more people to the museum and to Old Town Scottsdale. But this is separate from the event funding program. In fact, this would be taken from the city's portion of the destination marketing funds.
Okay, and then is there a sharing of expenses for the scope of this marketing program between the museum itself?
This was not contemplated with the match, no. We will only pay for receipts of advertising related to the opening of the Lewis Sands the Fourth Center and the Basha Western Art Collection. So they're going to, we don't pay till post-event, so they're going to prove how they advertised and the expenditure around that. We reconcile that and then pay post-event.
So maybe these questions should also go to Todd. So does that mean the city is being asked to pay for all of the marketing expenses for this purpose?
This wasn't brought forward with a match in marketing. This is just direct marketing dollars.
So is that a yes?
The city is paying for, I don't know if you have additional expenditures. We are not requiring it with this contract, so I will.
Okay, and before we switch gears to Todd, if you know, hopefully you know, what is Experience Scottsdale doing to promote this new addition and the experience that comes with it?
And I think Todd has also had meetings with them and can speak more specifically to that. They do intend to support this as well, though.
And then I'm going to have some follow-up questions for you.
Madam Mayor, I can address that specifically. Experience Scottsdale is definitely planning. We've already talked to them, and our director of marketing is here and working with Rachel over there to make sure that they utilize their destination marketing tools, the channels that they use across the country to promote this event and to promote this new 12,000 square feet that's being added to this Museum of the West, to let people know that there's a whole new set of attractions now at the Museum of the West. So yes.
Okay, 2 questions on that. When you say, and I should have asked Rachel this, when you say this event, can you explain what the event will be and what the time frame is?
There's the opening of the 12,000 square feet, which is going to be a week-long event. There's 4 new spectacular Western exhibits that are going to be inside of that 12,000 square feet. And we want to make sure that we only get this opportunity one time when we have a big new part of a facility to showcase to the world. And that's really the heart of the reason for the request for the $90,000 is you can only market so much with certain dollars, and adding this $90,000 on top of what we're going to spend is the ability to now go showcase on some TV, some radio, digital advertising, banners, all the things that we need to do to get that traveling art culture interest that's coming to town to come to our museum. Also afterwards, not just the 24th through the 29th. This is a long-term thing, because we've got a whole new part of a building that's going to be showcased to the world, and we want to make sure that we can allow people to know that it's actually happening. Without this 90,000, who's to know that it's going to be able to have the ability to have people show up, right? And so we want to have the week of opening, showcase it to everybody that we can outside the state of Arizona, as well as our neighbors in our state, and have them know that this opening includes the Eddie Basha collection from East Valley and all the other exhibits that come with it.
Okay, Todd, what is the museum's portion of the marketing budget that is parallel or analogous to the marketing budget that you're asking the city to fund for $90,000?
Well, we have been spending a good amount of the money curating these 4 exhibits that have been able to be, that we're going to be able to market about this event. And we're going to, I don't know the exact amount, but we are going to have marketing expenses on top of the 90,000. You have an idea, 150 or so total with the 90 in part of it? But we can't.
I'm sorry, did you say the 90 is
Part of it.
included in
Included in the
150?
150, yeah.
And so over what span of time is that?
We've started already.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so that budget has been presented to Rachel and the city? What your part is?
Yes. Not all of it, because we're going to provide receipts to do the audit at the end to showcase all the things that we're doing. But you can guarantee that we're doing TV, radio, concierge targeting around the valley, print, banners on the streets, and direct mail campaigns.
And do you know, have you had discussions with Experience Scottsdale, what they're planning to dedicate in terms of financial resources allocated to this particular?
Don't
not only
have the dollar amount, but they've committed to us to help us market this outside the state.
Okay. I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Graham, and I believe, Councilwoman McKellen, excuse me, is next, unless, did you jump down?
I'll go in order, that's fine.
Okay, so I'm going to circle back before we move on to the vote, but thank you for the answers. Councilwoman McKellen.
Thank you, Mayor. Rachel and Todd, when the Museum of the West first opened, and the size of it, similar to what one of the former speakers spoke, Mr. Pejman. So are we doubling in size with this extra
No.
12,000? Is it a third larger?
Yeah.
About the size?
Yeah. We've gone from 43,000 square feet to 55,000 square feet with this addition.
Excellent. And I understand the importance of what you said, the hitting it hard one time. You can only have one grand opening of a new event. And to even get the Eddie Basha collection, which has been sought after worldwide, for it to be coming to our Museum of the West, which is also a Smithsonian authenticated venue, museum, is quite remarkable. So anything we could do to make sure that more people attend on a regular basis, as my suggestion with this marketing would also be that people understand not just the collections, but that they can rent out the Museum of the West, and that it can have wedding receptions, and making sure that it is a dual process when we're publicizing it, so we have more return on our investment for the future. Just my suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Whitehead.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, guys. Most of the people up here weren't here. I think it was 2023. Wasn't that the magical year where every time you opened a drawer, you found gifts of art and money? And was that 23 or 24 that I just wonder if it might be worthwhile to tell the story of how we got to where we are today with this grand opening? Because there was a large gift of money. There was obviously the collection, the Basha collection. Can you just kind of review
Yeah.
that?
Councilwoman Whitehead, the Museum of the West was afforded the opportunity to receive the Eddie Basha collection. And as Councilwoman McAllen talked about, this was one of the most highly sought-after collection of Western items in the world for a lot of reasons. It represents a lot of the top cowboy artists in the world. And so when Eddie Basha wanted to buy a painting, no one would get between him and that painting when he was he would end up getting it, and he has secured some of the greatest art there is. And so we have the opportunity now to showcase that in a museum. It was in the gallery down in Chandler on his Basha's complex for the last 25 years, and now it is now coming to the museum, and it's already starting to be curated in our first floor of our new expansion. And so when that was afforded to us, then we had $12,000 donation from Louis Sands IV so that we could build the proper museum complex for this Eddie Basha collection. And since then, we've now determined what we're going to curate the rest of the museum, or rest of that 12,000 square feet with 3 other exhibits. And so we are going to have one of the largest Hopi pottery collections in the United States will be in the Museum of the West in this new expansion area. That's one of the other exhibits. And then we'll have Native American jewelry, which will be one of the largest Native American jewelry collections ever. And the Vision of Bronzes from Charlie Russell, Remington, John Coleman, all the great sculptors of the United States will have their bronzes in there. So we are showcasing this with some of the very best. And as I said earlier on, we don't get to do this opening other than one time. So we're going to do it up the best way we can to showcase this, to get people there that then can go start telling people about how special this is. And I think Scottsdale's Museum of the West only deserves the best and have the best turnout. So
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to put in context what we're marketing. And, none of us were here, as far as I know, when the museum was built. I'm grateful every day it was built. That was a big risk. And, I guess the projected numbers didn't turn out. But I cannot believe over the last 5 years how many changes have been made. I mean, and these investments. And so I'm really excited about this. I also want to talk about the Experience Scottsdale dollars versus the decision a council that I was sitting on made, which was to have kind of internal control of marketing dollars, and that's what we're discussing tonight. And part of the reason was to focus in on, as the speaker said, the local traffic. And I think that's really something I'm interested in. I hear from visitors all the time that they've been to the museum, but I speak to residents all the time who have not.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that seems to be the focus of this $90,000. Would you, I don't know if you or Rachel want to expand on the target audience and how it's different from what Experience Scottsdale does?
Oh, absolutely. We have to do a lot more marketing in the local market. We have the conversation all the time about people that show up that live 2 miles away from the Museum of the West, and it's the first time they've been there since it's been open 11 years, and we're like, why do they not know about this? And there can be art connoisseurs as well, and just you wonder how they don't know about it. It just hasn't had the marketing juice to do what it needs to do, and we just really feel like this is one of the big opportunities that we have with this museum over the course of its 11 years. And so that's why we're requesting. We want to showcase this new part of the building, which is the city's building, and we want to make sure that we showcase it the best we can.
And so of these marketing dollars, is it who decides how, like I have no expertise as an engineer in marketing, but how to best spend those dollars? And-
It's direct mail to the homes in the local areas. It's
Okay.
utilizing the Eddie Bassett list.
Oh.
Make sure that we can tell all their fans that this is coming to the Museum of the West and things like that that we're doing.
Okay, and I'm sure your board members are keenly involved. I'm seeing some of them in the audience with
Yeah.
ideas too.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman Graham, followed by Councilwoman Littlefield.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Matana. Thank you, Mr. Bankhofer. As I'm listening to these questions, I mean, just to be a little blunt, if people don't know about the museum, it kind of falls a little bit on the museum.
Well, just to be candid about that, Mayor and Councilman Graham, in the 11 years that we've been as a museum, the budget has grown incrementally, slowly, trying to build it up to a piece where we have enough marketing dollars to market that it's actually there.
Are you looking at what your marketing budget should be as a percentage of your total operating expenses? Are you guys looking at metrics like that to make sure your marketing?
Our goal is to increase our marketing. That's our number one goal. And that's what we've started to do. We just have this opportunity now, one time, to say, we're opening up this glorious new exhibit space,
Right.
and we want to showcase it to the world.
No, I'm a big believer in the Museum of the West, and I think it's an excellent asset. I love that it's Western themed. I love it's in our downtown. The city has invested in a significant amount of money. We built a building, and then, Museum of the West, Western Spirit, doesn't pay rent. So that's a big boost because we really care about it. When the museum was first started, it was, I think, a $400,000 annual injection was promised for the first 5 years, but that 5-year termination was waived, and so I think we still give that contribution every year, if I understand that correctly.
Correct.
And then, plus, we also last year gave sort of a one-time injection for some lighting and for some speaker and some seating upgrades, and that, for some CapEx.
Mm-hmm.
That's
CapEx,
important, and
yep.
and we've been there, and we go there, and
Yep.
those are helpful and those are valuable. I agree with some of my colleagues. The Sands expansion, Louis Sands expansion, and Eddie Bassett collection. I mean, a lot of money has gone into that. That was privately funded.
Yep.
So it's a real asset to our city. I guess maybe for Ms. Matana, this is not Tourism Development Commission approved. Did the TDC review these funds? Did they make a recommendation on them?
Mayor, members of council, yes, they did. December 16th, they heard a presentation from Todd about more specifics on the marketing plan and recommended to bring forward to you requests for $90,000 for marketing.
And how was that number arrived at? I mean, why not 50,000? Why not 150,000? What was the thinking behind that number?
Mayor, members of council, this was the number that we were approached with by the Museum of the West that they thought they could execute their marketing plan. And these are the dollars that they needed to to finish that plan, to execute that plan.
So when you were there at the TDC, did you guys talk about how $90,000 would fit within their existing marketing strategy? Was that discussed?
Yeah.
And what were the conclusions from that discussion?
I wouldn't say that it was an in-depth discussion. Todd did go into the specifics of the marketing plan and how they were going to employ that in a little greater detail than he has here today. And it resonated with the TDC, and they unanimously approved bringing it to you.
Did you guys discuss the breakout across categories digital ads, print, social media? Are there any partnerships? Are you guys promoting at the Waste Management Open? Are you doing anything like that?
Mayor.
I guess what's the breakout of how it's allocated? Was that discussed at TDC?
Yeah, but we didn't have individual numbers. We just talked about the categories that we were going to focus on specifically. And for the first time, TV came up that we knew we would not be able to do TV if we didn't have the $90,000.
This was kind of asked, but who are you targeting? Are you targeting in-state? What's the breakout between in-state and out-of-state travelers?
Mayor Borowski, Councilman Graham, we are focusing on both.
Yeah.
So it's important that we utilize Experience Scottsdale, and we make sure that we are talking to our residents around the valley here as well, so that they know that this new expansion is taking place.
Do you have any firm commitments or anything in writing from Experience Scottsdale?
Nothing in writing, but
just for the public, I guess this is kind of also a promotional marketing opportunity. What is the launch date for the exhibition? And you said it's a week long. When is that
March
week?
24th through the 29th.
So it sounds like you're going to start cutting checks here pretty soon to get the promotion. Is that right?
We've started, yes.
Are you're confident that the full? I think you said that you're going to probably match it at $60,000 because you said $150,000 total marketing strategy for this.
Yes.
And are you confident that none of that's going to be banked? That's all going to be spent leading up to the March opening date?
Hopefully by then. We might have to do a little bit afterwards because we believe strongly this goes on forever.
Yeah.
Not that we're going to fund forever, but we're going to fund this for a while to make sure that we keep the enjoyment and enthusiasm going.
And have you worked with any of our partners, setting aside Experience Scottsdale, but Scottsdale Arts, Historical Museum, do you have any partnerships contemplated to stretch the dollars and get any sort of synergies with our other partners as a force multiplier?
Well, Experience Scottsdale has really stepped up and said they would help us.
Okay.
So we want to make sure we focus on out-of-state traveler, art people from the outside of the state as well. So.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bankhofer. Ms. Smetana.
Councilwoman Littlefield.
Thank you, Mayor. I am going to support this tonight, but I do think that your marketing strategies need a good review. From what I have seen over the past few years, it leaves a lot to be desired because you need to contour to when people are going to be in the downtown area and wanting to find a new place to go visit. And I'm talking primarily around the Christmas time when you have, thousands of people roaming around looking at Christmas lights. One experience I had which really brought this home to me was my husband and I had been enjoying the Christmas festivals along the canal bank and looking at all the lights and the lights in the pool and the canal and all this stuff. And we got on the bus and we took off into Old Town, downtown area, and of course immediately it got dark, right? And so we're traveling through the bus, and on the bus was one other couple, a couple from Canada. And we started chatting with them and talking to them and talking about Scottsdale and what all they could come and see and do and all this. And she said, well, don't you have a museum down here somewhere? And I said, yes, we have Museum of the West. She says, well, where is it? And we were driving right past the door, and it was totally dark. No lights, nothing. And I said, that's it. You can come back in the morning and go visit it. But you need to kind of plan some of the marketing, and this is just basic business, around when the people are going to be there, when the people are going to be interested in seeing stuff that are tourism related, because we have a whole bunch of tourists here. So to me, I'm going to approve this because I think we need the money in order to expand our marketing projects in this, but I think it needs to be a little better honed as to where we spend that money and how we reach the people who are already here but have no awareness of where it is, what it is, how it's doing, when it's
Exactly.
open, when it's closed, all of these kinds of things. So to me, that's vital, and I think Experience Scottsdale can help with that to some extent too, and work with them on that kind of issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman DeBascus.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think what you're hearing is very consistent support for the Museum of the West. It is a point of pride for the city of Scottsdale. I think of the Museum of the West as an anchor for Old Town. It is a fantastic place to direct people to because it's beautiful, it's luxurious, it's a warm and wonderful place to come with really interesting Western heritage that really no one sees anywhere else, all accumulated in one place. So it's a very, very special place. And I think our consistent question is, what can we do to grow attendance? Partially because we're all thinking about how can we grow attendance throughout Old Town in general. And I think this is an opportunity for us to go ahead and say, if we grow attendance in the Museum of the West, that can have a definite economic impact on the remainder of Old Town. So what I'd like to suggest is that we not only consider this for our tourism plan that's coming up for review in February, but maybe we could ask you to come back and give us a presentation on the results of this 90,000 and the marketing plan that you have. And if there's a partnership that you're looking for from us, something like that, I think we're all expressing an interest in growing your membership and working with you because we really value the Museum of the West and we feel that you have a tremendous contribution to give to Old Town.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I don't see any more questions on the board, but I'm going to just ask another question that I didn't ask earlier, and that is, you may have heard, instead of doing the downtown and Old Town external marketing PR contract, the city manager has started to develop that in-house. So have you had any discussions, and that's for the promotion and marketing of the area you're in, as well as all of the downtown and Old Town areas. Have you had discussions with staff about, because as I understand it, there's $1 million, I think, or thereabout, dedicated to marketing, which our tourism, our staff will be executing and dispersing, directing traffic on. Have you had discussions with how your expectations or plans dovetail with what the city is now trying to do for Old Town and downtown?
Well, I can say that I've had short conversations with Rachel and Greg and Judy, but we haven't got into it deep because we've been caught up in the whole trying to make sure that we get this first 3-month campaign off the chart and going. And so we do know about that. We're familiar with it. As we talked about a couple weeks ago in here, promoting Old Town is very, very important, and it's not just us, it's all of Old Town, and making sure that that is still the place where everybody wants to come when they come to Scottsdale. And so I believe strongly that we should continue those conversations immediately.
Okay. And there was some discussion about Experience Scottsdale may not be the right, organization to be promoting this on a widespread level. I disagree. I don't know that much about the Basha collection or the Sands, collection. But if it's so widely acclaimed and known, I would think this certainly could serve as a national or international event. So I feel like tapping into Experience Scottsdale's expertise there, because what I'm hearing you say, and I'm a huge fan of the Museum of the West, huge fan, and I think that it can achieve bigger success than what we're doing, and I'm not sure how you do that, but some of this discussion may be helpful in terms of, as Bob Pejman pointed out, I was on the council when this whole concept was coming through on the private-public partnership, and the city was being asked to spend a tremendous amount of money. And back then, I expressed serious concerns about really another city-sponsored art museum, right? I think that's probably exactly what I would have said. We have one on property here, over at Smoka. And while a different flavor, I did have major concerns about that becoming a city-supported facility. And you've done an incredible job with getting private funding, nonprofit funding through donations, and I think it's outstanding. It's stunning. But I can't vote for this tonight based on what I've heard and what I've read. I don't think there's a clear marketing plan. I don't think there should be an allocation of what the city's going to be spending. I know it's up to $90,000, but it should be specifically set out. I think there should be, in all honesty, an equal, if not more, match, much maybe, I would say more, match from private or, or fundraising dollars, right? Yep. And when groups come to the city to ask for money from the tourism, from bed tax or for any reason, right? We have a very high level of scrutiny, and I haven't heard that tonight. Like, what exactly are you going to do? And I do think that given the fact that the city has decided to start its own internal push to market and do public relations for Old Town, you certainly fit well within that box, if not the centerpiece of that box. So I think there's an opportunity there that hasn't been investigated yet or fully looked at. And I know how hard you guys work to do this, but if it were just up to me, I'd say it's a no for today. Go back, work with your board of directors and your internal team, Experience Scottsdale and the city, and see how we can get a pie of money that isn't all on the city's shoulders. So that's all I have to say on that. And great job. I know we're putting you to the test tonight, and you've answered the questions. I just think we can take a finer pencil, sharpen the pencil to this one. Councilman Graham.
Mayor, thank you. I will move to adopt Resolution 13580. Councilwoman Dubauskas made some excellent points. I thought that her comments were spot on, and I'd like to, if I could, Mr. Parliamentarian, maybe adjust my motion to modify it to say that, on the condition that they come back and report how the marketing program went as far as, and this is maybe for the contract administrator. I know that Steve Gigama is the contract administrator, but Ms. Smetana, I know you supervise him. I don't know what I want to look at, but I mean, maybe come back and give us a breakout of,
Sure,
by category, how things were spent, key performance indicators such as attendance increases, visitor origin data, maybe some estimated incremental economic impact. Maybe you can do some sort of return on investment calculation for us, and then we'd also like to see kind of maybe some details of the monies that you guys put in, how those were contributed by the museum, and just to give us the taxpayers some confirmation and assurance that both sides of the money were spent, nothing was banked, and everything was deployed, so we can maximize this rollout for this massive investment that we hope is going to be wildly successful. I hope you send us an invitation because I'd like to be there for it, and that's my motion.
March 24th at 2 p.m. and hopefully is on all of your calendars, because I have sent that over a couple months ago.
So that's going to be a big day for the city and for the downtown, and for your museum.
Yep.
And
Big showcase.
I'm sure you're getting your speech ready, and and so if I can make that motion.
I'm going to second the motion, and I'd like to speak to my second. Okay. Are you done?
I'm done, but
Councilman Graham?
the city attorney.
City Attorney.
Mayor, members of City Council, and Councilman Graham, what I would recommend in terms of your motion is make it two parts. The first part, adopt the resolution because it adopts the contract, and then a second part to your motion would be to direct staff to bring back the information that you just requested.
So I'll move to adopt Resolution 13580, and then I'll move to direct staff to bring the Museum of the West and the contract administrator and the tourism director back to report on the success of the program, including a breakout of expenditures by category, key performance indicators such as attendance increase, visitor origin data, and other metrics, clear calculation of the return on investment, breakout of Museum of the West portion of their marketing dollars, and did I say anything else? And that kind of covers, so just kind of a brief thing just to make sure our taxpayers know that oh, and then also just clarify that everything was spent and that there was nothing banked, so we can maximize promotion for the event.
It'll be spent.
Okay, I'll second that. And yeah, I just want to comment that I think this discussion has been really good. And, but because of the timing of this event, I don't want to, I'm going to support it too. But it is, it is the kind of information that, had we all been ahead of the game in November, December, we could have been asking for, and more clarity on how these dollars. But I very much like the idea of seeing how it works, and I'm rooting for huge success. It's amazing what has happened at the museum over the last 3 years. So,
Thank you.
All right, Councilwoman McCallan.
I just want to make a comment. Actually, my question is a clarification question for Ms. Smetana. With the TDC, when we give money out to groups, they have to come back and report, correct?
Mayor, members of council, they always do a post-event reconciliation. We rarely just have these marketing requests. So we always get those and deliver those to the Tourism Development Commission. There are some of the major events like Canal Convergence and a lot of the new event development do come back and present, especially if they think they are going to request it again. It's not for certain for every expenditure, but often we will hear from those folks again, and everyone has access to the post-event reconciliation.
Okay, I just think it would be a great practice, and then that way, when groups do come back to us, we know if we've had return on investment, we know if you've done what you said you're going to do. All the questions that occurred here tonight would be answered. So that's just my thought.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Quasman.
Thank you, Todd. Can you just tell us again what the date is on that event?
March 24th,
So thanks.
2 p.m.
Mr. City Clerk, do we have a council meeting that night?
Yes.
But it's earlier.
Right, it's at 2 p.m. though, correct?
Yeah, our event starts at 2.
Okay. I just want to make sure in case we had to change times. Measuring twice and
We actually had
cutting
that
once.
in mind when we set 2 p.m.
Thanks.
And Councilwoman Littlefield.
Thank you, Mayor. I will also be supporting this tonight, but I would like to suggest or ask that when you come back and talk to us again, that you show how you plan to interact with the other tourism businesses in the downtown area, and to see if you can all kind of add on to each other and build a unified downtown tourism attraction center, and actually help each other and make a connected branch. I guess that's what you want to say.
And I think that's in connection with your question, Mayor, about this new set of funds that we're going to use. That is a big part of that.
Good.
Getting
because
everybody to work together.
I think it's very important. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, I don't see anything further, and with that, let's take a vote. Thank you very much.